I call Phil Twyford.
Mr Speaker, thank you, Mr Speaker. I like the member Alfred Ngaro on a personal level. I really do. I really do. But it's really sad to see him wheeled out yet again to be an apologist for the most appalling policy positions that the national government takes. He is the community-friendly face that is wheeled out to justify, to run interference against any bill, any policy that might benefit the lives of working people in this country. That's his sole political function in the national government, is to run interference against anything that might improve the lives of working people, that might give them more secure employment, better quality housing, higher wages, more rights at work, you name it. Whatever the issue, Alfred Ngaro will stand up and pretend to be concerned about the people that he pretends to represent. And I think that's really, really sad if that is the political role that you play in this parliament. Look, renters are now half the population of New Zealand. Half the population. In Auckland, it's even more than that. And they are stuck between a rock and a hard place under this national government's negligent, reckless mismanagement of the housing crisis. They are facing Hobson's choice. They cannot afford to buy their own properties. They are locked out of the real estate market. And is it any wonder, Mr Speaker, when today we read that in the last 3 years, the number of homes that are valued at more than $1 million has gone up fourfold in 3 years, from 59,000 homes to 235,000. Is it any wonder that we have the lowest rate of home ownership in 65 years, Mr Speaker? That is why renters are locked out of the housing market. They don't have a show under this national government. But what is the alternative? It's a case of can't live with it, can't live without it, because they face a miserable, insecure existence. They have very little security of tenure. Half the population of this country face the prospect of being kicked out of their homes with 90 days' notice for no reason at all. The average tenancy is between 6 and 12 months. How can you raise a family or live a decent life with that level of insecurity? And Alfred Ngaro stands up in this House. I cannot believe he can stand up in this House with a straight face and defend the existing laws and policies in this country. They are unworkable. They expose half the population of this country to a level of insecurity that is unconscionable. And I applaud Materia Ture bringing this bill to this House. New Zealand is an outlier. We give fewer rights to renters than any other country in the OECD. New Zealand renters have such little security of tenure. They don't have the rights to make the most basic alterations to their properties. They can be faced with repeated, severe rent rises. And people are really, really hurting in the current rental market. In Auckland, in the last 5 years, the average rent went up by $5,000. $5,000 in 5 years. How can people survive? Materia Ture's bill makes all the sense in the world. It is humane, it is decent. The ideas that in this bill, the idea of tenants having the first right of renewal when a tenancy expires, the idea of a standard tenancy forms that will include a commitment to a certain formula for future rent rises, a default term of 3 years. Look, Alfred Ngaro tried to reduce this debate to one of property rights of landlords to the rights of tenants. That's not how the world works. There are dozens of jurisdictions around the world, Mr. Speaker, who give rights to renters, who give them security of tenure. Alfred Ngaro, has he spoken to the Property Investors Federation? He hasn't. He clearly hasn't. Because if he did, he would know they are very interested in this bill and they are very supportive. Alfred Ngaro is to the right of the Property Investors Federation. That is how out of touch that member is.
Mr. Speaker.